Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Tribeca Trade Group, and this is your end of day market recap for Monday, December 23rd, last full trading day before Christmas holiday on Wednesday. Just a quick reminder, tomorrow is a half a day. Markets close at 1 o'clock. There will be a 5-year bond auction at 11:30 because of the holiday. They're getting in their bond auctions this week, even though it's a holiday shortened week. Risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only, not giving any advice or recommendations. Everything that we're going through is for information purposes only. Please read the full risk disclaimer there. So I will go through a couple of the trends for the day. I mean, there was, definitely some separation going on today. The major standout area was the semis, which were up very nicely, up 2.7%. So I want to talk about them for a couple of minutes. But I'm going to try to keep this video shorter because I've been putting out some longer videos. Interesting. So, a couple of things happened just to kind of recap the day is that the market had a little bit of a shakeout this morning. I saw the VIX go back up to 20 in the first hour of the day. But it was a little bit of just like bend and not break. Another kind of like a little bit of a shakeout rally. Remember on Friday, one of my complaints on Friday, I always have complaints. I'm always very critical of what we see in terms of price action, and you should be critical, right? In order to be in the market, you have to be somewhat optimistic, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't be critical, right? Because of what you want to see and where you want to, what you're looking for out of the market. So you should always be critical, in my opinion. But you also have to be a little bit of optimistic to also be in the market as well. Taking a look at SPY and looking at where we kind of got back to, basically the highs of where we were on Friday, and then we kind of fizzled, right? And then of course we had this fizzle this morning. Look at where we kind of came into, which was also something I was watching too, was just to the bottom of the value area for the week. So right into some support. Support held nicely and we bounced. Did we do anything like crazy today? No, I don't think so, but I think this is progress. Again, two of the things that I was watching was what we were doing at the 50-day moving average where price got rejected, and also the 5-period moving average. So price got above those. So for the day, I like what I like what I see. Now, come tomorrow, I'll probably complain about something else, but no, I'm just kidding. But yes, price back above the 5-period moving average. A nice little trading day, I think. I'm going to also just bring up the Qs too, because the Qs continue to be the leader. Maybe at some point that probably changes, maybe as we head to the end of the year, maybe beginning of next year, because of those like dogs of the Dow type of trade going into next year. So there could be some rotation, but for now the Qs are king, right? And they are, look at the difference between, I'll show you IWM, which I'm not going to talk about too much, but just kind of still struggling. Finished down on the day. So again, it's not an everything rally. Breadth did get a little bit better as the day wore on. Like the Dow, for instance, was red for the most of the day as well, right? This actually went positive. Did it take back any major technicals here? No, and I would watch 430 if you're trading some of the Dow stocks. But again, it's important to kind of keep your eye on, because I do think that we're going to get some type of rotation. But look at the difference between the Qs, right? Instead of below the value area for the month, above the value area, and now taking back both the 20 and closing right around the 5-period moving average. So, similar thing happened here to the S&P, is that we run right to the bottom of this week's value area. Again, all of this, like, I'm not drawing any of this stuff. This is all drawn out automatically for you if you have the MarketWebs, right? There's no manual anchoring. I have nothing against the anchored VWAP, because people really do well and trade against that. And if that helps you, then continue to do it. But it's also very manual. You got to figure out, oh, geez, do I anchor this to the lows from Wednesday? Do I anchor this to lows to the month? And I think it also, people find one that they like. They could say, oh, well, I'm not going to use this anchor. I'm going to use this one because it makes more sense to me. And it's one of those, if you go back past this line, then I'll anchor someplace else. Right. This you don't have to, this is not as subjective as that to me, and that's just my opinion. But so for example, like this is a level that I sent out in my Substack earlier today, 517.88. We came right into that. We dipped on these 1 hour candles. You have to be careful because um, they take a while to close. They take a whole hour to close. That could be an eternity if you're trading on, like 5 minute candles, 5 minute candlestick bars. But it explored lower and it did not close outside of the value area and kind of hung in there. So for now, that it's doing what it should be. Now, again, it's not over Friday's highs, but still made some nice progress. All right, let's talk a little bit about the semiconductors because they were the star for today. And notice that this did make it over Friday's highs pretty nicely. And I think for a while we were teetering on a breakdown. And the further that we get away from that, I think the better. I think we're still very sideways in this. I think you can pick your winners, right? But we saw, the one of the first names that I saw this morning was so before, sorry, sometimes I jump ahead. So watch this 250.13 level, right? That's the top of the value area. Notice we did not break above that. But AMD was a nice mover today. By the time I saw this move, I was like, I'm not chasing AMD. If anything, I'm going to chase a name in an uptrend. I'm not chasing a name in a downtrend. Notice there'll be some resistance there at 127. All right. Also, if you look at the 1 hour chart, there'll be some resistance. 126.80, right, will be some resistance as well. So you're going to have to, that's something to kind of to deal with. This is the value area for the year. So, maybe that's a false break into the value area for the year, but it will definitely have to get above 127. So I don't want to spend any more time there. I'm going to talk about NVIDIA for a minute. It'd be interesting. Like here's the weekly chart of NVIDIA. So will this be able to kind of float back up? It's definitely a possibility. We're now back above this neckline of the possible head and shoulders. So that's fine. Like, I sent out a video last week. I'm like, let the technicals guide you here. The next thing that you're going to have to watch is that 50-day moving average in the bottom of value area, which is right around 139, right? That's definitely something to watch. I did not trade this. I already have two semi names on. So I definitely was looking at it. We saw a heck of a lot of call activity, but we always do in Tesla. I'm not Tesla. Well, Tesla too, but and Nvidia too. So so I would watch this 139 level. Right, VPOC taken out. Next VPOC up is about 3.7% up. All right, one of the stars I think is Broadcom. Here's what the Broadcom chart looks like. That's the weekly. Let me go to the daily. This one I am long. Got back above the 5 period moving average. That's great. Let's see if this wants to continue and be a market leader. Also looking at the 1 hour chart. Notice I'm going through multiple time frames here because these are the two time frames that I use most in my trading, the 1 hour chart and the daily chart, because I'm a more short-term, mid-term, sometimes long-term swing trader. But if I'm trading like short-term swing trading, like a couple days to a week, then I'm going to use the 1 hour chart. A lot of my positions I hold also for a few weeks, right? It all depends on the trend. If the trend looks good, I stay in stocks, right? If it looks shaky, then I make adjustments. But notice this is also in the value area for the week, also above Friday's highs. Again, note it, like I think that's an important uh distinguishing level that you can watch is Friday's highs, right? So this is like it's starting to cruise, right? So very nice here. Tesla always gets a lot of attention. Tesla, I actually started a position. I thought I was kind of bottom, going after the bottom here, right around this 421 level is where it held, right? And that's my support for this trade. So if Tesla breaks, it's just a starter position. If it breaks below 420, I would be out of the position. Let's see if it can begin to kind of grind up. Another one, RBRK. This is one that I've kind of wanted to get into for a while. You notice that the value area for the week is green, right? That means that the 80% rule is triggered. Now, this is a very wide 80% rule, but same thing. I've got a level to trade against 66. So notice in each one of my trades, right? I don't have a crystal ball. So it's all about being a risk manager, taking a shot at something, and then watching, having a level to basically trade against so that if it fails, right, then I know where to get out and I know where to safely, get out of a position. Another name that I'm watching is VST. VST is a name that you go back a couple weeks ago, had a failure here, failed to break out. 162.50. So the value areas told you exactly what was going on here, right where it looked like it was going to turn higher. It got rejected, right? And then saw some distribution. Now buyers are trying to step back in here. So I would watch to see if this can break out of its value area for the week. And that level to watch is 141. Again, notice, but the more that we talk about levels and the more that we talk about support and resistance, what are we doing? Right? We're taking the emotion out of the equation, right? Everybody has preferences and judgments and so forth. But at the end of the day, we don't know if we're going to be right or wrong on those judgments, right? No one has a crystal ball, right? The market is an uncertain thing. So what we're doing is just trying to give ourselves a plan of where we want to be long and where we know that the trade is not working. Again, a lot of this stuff is mainly in the short term. All right, so that's basically it, guys. The semis were very strong. What I would also watch too, here's my sector watch list, right? This is like sector momentum stuff. Notice that tech has come right back to the leaderboard. It is now above all those moving averages, the 5, the 20, and the 50, right? So here's your market leader. So back above those short-term moving averages and the value area. What else? Right. Notice how many things are still weak, right? They're below the 5, the 20, and the 50. If the market is really going to recover, you're going to see some of these areas begin to retake and start to move back and like revert back to the mean. So for example, like one area which I've been pretty negative on is healthcare. Like healthcare, so you could see in this column, there's not many groups that have reclaimed that short-term 5-period moving average. XLV is one of them. And we saw some crazy J&J trade that went up earlier. I don't know if that is like a dogs or the Dow strategy, but you could see, so again, this is very beaten up, but maybe it retraces like halfway up here. Because it is making lower. So this would be a counter trend trade, by the way, right? This is exhibiting lower highs and lower lows, but maybe it rallies up here a little bit, and the 20-day moving average comes down. Again, I'm not saying that this changes trend or is a very attractive chart or anything like that. I'm just saying that you might see some widening out of breadth and maybe some other areas begin to kind of retrace a little bit. Just something to kind of be aware of. All right. I'm going to leave it there for today. Have a great night, everybody. And no video or notes for tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you on Thursday. I'll be trading for I'll be trading for a couple hours in the morning, and that's it. But if I don't see you tomorrow, have a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and I'll see you on Thursday.